Hey guys, it's Halo553. Welcome back to another Beyblade X review and unboxing. Today we're going to be checking out the latest set release from Hasbro, that being the Xtreme expansion set. Now going over the packaging quickly, as you can see we got some really nice images of everything you get in the set, which is really cool. And the box is actually quite a lot smaller than I thought. On the side it does say you can do up to 60 combinations of this. On the other side just app stuff. And then flipping onto the back of the box, it just goes into a bit more detail of everything that you get in this set. So first up, we of course have the main attraction, that being Mail Knight. So we have the Mail Knight blade. It says that it cushions impact. For the ratchet, we have 385, and then we have the bounce spike bit. Now we also get two other blades with this. So we get the Circle Ghost blade, and we also get a Hammer Insignia blade, and it does say it has anodized metal, which is basically just a fancy way of saying that it has a metal coat. And for the other parts, for ratchets, we have the 770 ratchet, 965, and 455. And then for the bits, we have rubber cell, point, ball, and metal needle. So let's get into this big expansion set. Alright, so here is everything that you get in this expansion set. Of course, the main attraction being Mail Knight, but we also do have some really cool parts here. So I'm going to go over everything that we get in this set first before we talk about Mail Knight, as there are some interesting aspects of this set that I do want to talk about in more detail. So let's get started. So first up, we have the Circle Ghost blade. Now this is not a new part, we have seen this part a few times now already from Hasbro. And in my opinion, this is definitely the weakest aspect of this set, as we have already gotten this blade in Wave 6 with Chain Incendio, and we've gotten its green recolor in Wave 7 with Hack Viking. So I don't know what Hasbro and Takara were thinking about re-releasing this blade in this set. I can only assume it was maybe just a cost-saving measure, or to potentially keep this all UX exclusive blades. But honestly, I think they really should have either kept the Terra Swing blade or the red Metal Card Tyranno Beat blade. Or if they needed to swap to a UX blade, I honestly would have taken Shinobi Shadow over this one. It's an okay blade in certain situations, but I really wouldn't say it's worthwhile to get this pack just for this blade, considering that you can actually get this blade in two different jewel packs at the moment. But, I mean, if you didn't get the Chain Incendio jewel pack with this blade, I mean, you have at least a quote-unquote easier way to get this. But, yeah, I'll be honest, this is definitely one of the weakest aspects of this release. Next up, we have Hammer Incendio. Now, it's been a little while since we've seen Hammer Incendio from Hasbro. We last saw this in Wave 3. But now it is back in a very, very nice blue metal card. Now, Hammer Incendio is an okay balance type blade. Hammer and Viking are okay in certain situations again. They're just not really something to write home about. But honestly, the main focus with this release of Hammer is of course that blue metal card. It looks so gorgeous. If you're thinking of running Hammer Incendio, I definitely do recommend using this version of the blade. It just looks so cool. And honestly, it's a really nice way to be able to get this blade if you missed out on that initial starter pack, as it is a little bit harder to come by nowadays in certain places. So pretty happy to see this finally make a return from Hasbro. Alright, let's now focus on the ratchets that you get in the set. Now, besides the ratchet that you get with Mail Knight, you get 3 ratchets here. 2 of them which are in brand new colors that are exclusive to this set, which is pretty cool. But let's now have a look at them one by one. So first up, we have 770. So it's 7 intrusion points at the 70 height. Now this was new with the customized set from Takara, so it's fantastic to finally see this ratchet from Hasbro. At least for the time being, this is going to be one of the only ways to get this ratchet. Now 770 is a really great ratchet to have. Like 760 is still pretty useful, 770 is just as good. So really happy to see this ratchet again. Granted, I do hope we see another release of it, as for this to still be locked behind this expensive set is not going to be great. I mean, granted, it's not technically expensive, but you know what I mean. But still, great to see this ratchet make a return. Next up, we have 455. Not a new part, we've seen this ratchet a few times now from Hasbro, but it's now in this really nice, like, orange-like color. I really like the looks of this ratchet. I think it's a really nice, awesome, exclusive recolor to have here. 455 is an okay ratchet. You probably don't really see it as much nowadays, thanks to 450, but still, do appreciate seeing this in a new ratchet color. So, pretty nice to have this. The final ratchet is 965. Now, I find the inclusion of this ratchet really interesting, as this ratchet only just came out a few months ago from Takara with Clock Mirage. So, it is interesting to see that we're getting this ratchet before Clock Mirage releases from Hasbro. So, 9 intrusion points at the 65 height. It's a decent ratchet, nothing really crazy to write home about, but still, really cool to see that Hasbro is deciding to release this ratchet before they release Clock Mirage. I'll be curious to see if they release 965 in more colors before they fully release Clock Mirage. So, be interesting to see how that tale unfolds. But now let's focus on the bits that we get in this set. And here are the bits that we get in the expansion set. As you can see, we've got a pretty nice assortment of bits that are included here. So the first bit we do get is Point in a very nice blue. Very nice part to have here. We also do get a very nice ball in white. Another great part to have here. The next bit we do get is Rubber Cell. So really great attack type bit here, especially if you wear down that rubber. So pretty nice bits all around. Oh yeah, and there's also a Metal Needle. Alright, let's now focus on the main attraction of the expansion set, that being Mail Knight. So for the time being, Mail Knight is going to be an exclusive for this set, which is a little disappointing. But on the other hand, it's really awesome to finally be able to get this blade from Hasbro. So let's now take a deeper dive into this UX defense type. So first off, we have the Mail Knight blade itself. So Mail Knight is a UX defense type blade, so long chunks of plastic and the metal was allocated to the blade design. It's a pretty rugged design for a defense type, so this actually leads to Mail Knight offering some pretty good defense and also some really nice recoil. Now, one of the main traits of Mail Knight that makes this a really cool blade, excuse me for stuttering there, is that it has some really awesome ball bearings. At the time of filming, Mail Knight is still the only bay and part in general that has ball bearings. So the ball bearings actually help with Mail Knight's balance, so it will help lean it one way or the other. And if you get it on some angled ratchets, this will actually allow some really nice angled attacks. So Mail Knight is still really used competitively today. It's still a really solid defense type. Most people tend to run this on, say, Hexa and Kick, but also tend to run it also on certain attack type combos too. So really awesome to see this blade here. It would be awesome to hopefully see a new recolor for this released by Hasbro, but still really happy to finally see Mail Knight get a release here. Next up, we have the free 85 ratchet. Now, nothing too crazy to talk about here that I haven't already said before. 3 intrusion points at the 85 height. Now, this ratchet originally released with Night Mail in the customized set, so actually nice to be able to get the original colors for this from Hasbro now. But we have had this ratchet quite a bit now from Hasbro, so it's nothing too crazy. It's not the best ratchet currently on the market. Like, it does have its uses, but nothing too crazy. But still, pretty happy to finally have the original colors for this, at least from Hasbro. Finally, we have the bit known as Bound Spike. So Bound Spike is a variation of the Spike bit. Now, as you can probably tell from its naming, the Bound Spike bit is a pretty unique bit as it actually bounds off the ratchet. So it doesn't fully sit into the ratchet like almost every other bit does, it bounds off it. So what this does, it actually allows the bit to tilt from side to side, so you can actually get some certain angles with this, so it can make it easier for it to get under certain blades or even potentially attack more downward. Now, the main problems with Bound Spike is it is spike, so not exactly a great ratchet. Plus, the boundness of this bit actually leads this bit to being a lot more susceptible to bursting. So it does have some major trade-offs. So I do feel like these bound bits might have a lot more use with more, say, attack type orientated bits, say rush or even low flat, but definitely not for spike. I hope we do see more bound bits in the future, but for now, bound spike's the only one so far, and it's not exactly great. I definitely would recommend switching out to a different defense type bit if you are really wanting to use defense bits. So, but yeah, I will say, still great to finally see this bit from Hasbro, but honestly, it's not a great bit to use though. With this combination of parts, it makes Male Knight a defense type, which is very fitting with the other Knight bays released so far. But now, let's weigh up all the parts that this bay comes with.
Alright, you know what time it is, it's weighing in time, so I'm gonna weigh up all the ratchets and the blades. I'm not gonna bother weighing up the bits. Just gonna weigh up all the ratchets and the blades, and of course all the stuff that comes with Male Knight. So, the Hammer and Symbio blade, this one weighs 33.38. The Circle Ghost blade, this weighs 26.43, so it's not as heavy as my green one from the dual pack. The 455 ratchet, that weighs 4.7 grams. The 965, that weighs 4.38. And then 770, that weighs 7.38. Alright, so bound spike, this weighs 2.02. 385, this weighs 4.75 grams. And then finally, the Male Knight blade, this one weighs 36.37 grams. That's not too bad. Some Male Knights have been weighing more, some a bit less, but almost 36.4 grams is not too bad for this blade. So let's put the blade together. So 385, bound spike. Let's see how that works. So there's the full combo. It's really tall. So all together, Male Knight in its stock combo weighs 43.14 grams. So let's try this out with some test battles. Alright, now we're going to do some test spins and some test battles with Male Knight. I'm not going to do any test spins with Hammer and Ghost, as we've seen them before, but let's see how Male Knight goes. Now, being on down spike, it's going to stay relatively in the center, but the stock combo is not going to be great. Like, it can be decent, but it's not exactly what you would call a winner. But the blade honestly should still be really good. You should see some really nice counterattacks on it. But I mean, a little minute it's staying relatively as I have to say, it stays relatively stable. There's a lot of wobble there. Probably without a doubt due to bounce spike, but let's see how this guy does in some test battles. Okay, I've switched up the combo on Male Knight, so I'm going to go with the staple 560 Hexa. This is a pretty competitive combo with Male Knight, so let's see how this goes. Oh, that Hexa's really sliding around. Oh, that was a nice hit there. Ooh. This is the thing, I've not tested Male Knight against Mummy Curse before, so this is actually going to be interesting. Oh, Mummy only just had that. Knight's just making a lot of plastic contact there. Nice counter. Oh. Knight takes it.
So that is it for my look at the Xtreme expansion set. I am very happy with this set, and for the price that you can get it for, it's really great value for what you get. Now, for Male Knight, really happy to finally see this release from Hasbro, but it is a bit unfortunate, at least for the time being. It's going to be exclusive to this set, so it's not going to be easy to get, but hopefully we will see this blade release outside of the set at some point in a new color, but overall can't complain about that. Now, for the other two blades that you get in this set, I'm happy with Hammer. I think it's pretty decent, but I am a bit disappointed to see Circle Ghost appear again. I was fine with it being in the Wave 6 and Wave 7 dual packs, but I do find its inclusion here a bit unnecessary. I would have liked it if it was maybe an exclusive recolor for Circle Ghost, or a different blade entirely. It's just that you might as well just get it from the dual packs that are more widely available, but other than that, I can't complain about the blades that are included in this expansion set. Now, for the ratchets and bits that we get in the set, I'm actually pretty happy with what you get. I know some people are a little bit disappointed that we're not getting 160 and Rush like the original customized set did, but you can get those parts a little bit more easily from the starter packs and even the collab packs that Hasbro's released over the last year. But I do love that we get two new exclusive recolors for 455. and 965, especially 965 before we can get Clock Mirage from Hasbro. So I do feel like these new recolors do kind of make up for it, but I do get that people will still be disappointed with 160 and Rush not being included. As for the other bits we get besides Bound Spike, really solid parts overall. Point is already still a really popular bit at the moment, same with Ball, really great to see those. Rubber Cell, great bit to have, especially when you start to wear down that rubber. It has really good life out to death. Metal Needle's definitely probably the main part that I think you could have honestly just gotten rid of. It's not a great bit and is often banned from a lot of competitive circuits because it has a tendency to dent stadiums. But other than that, I think this is still a great assortment of bits even when Rush is taken out of the equation. So my final thoughts on the Xtreme expansion set are pretty high. There's definitely a lot of aspects to really like about this set, especially considering that this is $30 US, or you can get it as low as 49 Australian here in, obviously, Australia. There are some aspects I do wish were a little bit better. I mean, a different blade besides Circle Gears would have been nice, and maybe slightly different parts in a few other places. But overall, I can't really complain too much. I do highly recommend picking this up if you have not gotten any of these parts yet. It's definitely a great way to boost your collection, and most especially if you're starting to get into Beyblade X. This is definitely a fantastic way to boost the parts you have access to if you're starting to get into this hobby. So definitely can recommend picking this up. It's not going to be for everyone, but I definitely can still highly recommend it. But that's going to do it for this review and unboxing, so thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more Beyblade X videos in the future. Please leave a like, subscribe, and comment, and until then, I'll see you all in the next video.